Assalamu alaikum everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video we'll be discussing about the posterior triangle. As we all know, sternocleidomastoid muscle is the key muscle of the neck. It divides the neck into posterior triangle and the anterior triangle. In today's video I'll discuss only the posterior triangle, its boundaries and its contents. The posterior triangle's boundaries are: anteriorly it is bounded by sternocleidomastoid muscle. Posteriorly, it is bounded by trapezius muscle. The base is formed by middle 1/3 of the clavicle and the apex by the superior nuchal line, where both the sternocleidomastoid and the trapezius muscle meet. Once again, the boundaries of the posterior triangle are: anteriorly sternocleidomastoid muscle, posteriorly trapezius muscle. The base is formed by the middle 1/3 of the clavicle and the apex by the superior nuchal line, or where the trapezius muscle and the sternocleidomastoid muscle meet. The roof of the posterior triangle is very simple, formed by skin, superficial fascia, deep fascia. And if you would have seen my previous videos on external jugular vein, I told you that the external jugular vein pierces the roof of the posterior triangle. Along with that, it is also pierced by 4 cutaneous branches of cervical plexus. Moving on to the floor of the posterior triangle, it is formed by a set of muscles which are semispinalis capitis, splenius capitis, levator scapulae and scalenus medius. These are important and very simple. Semispinalis capitis, splenius capitis, levator scapulae and scalenus medius. These form the floor of the posterior triangle. The posterior triangle is divided into a very big or large occipital triangle and a very small supraclavicular triangle by the inferior belly of omohyoid muscle. This is called occipital triangle because it is just below the occiput, and this triangle is called the supraclavicular triangle because it is just above the clavicle. Moving on to the contents of the posterior triangle, since we know that the posterior triangle is divided into 2 triangles, the supraclavicular triangle and the occipital triangle, therefore the contents are also divided as such. Firstly, the contents of the occipital triangle: spinal accessory nerve, 3rd and 4th cervical nerves, dorsal scapular nerve, 4 cutaneous branches of cervical plexus, occipital artery and superficial transverse cervical artery. Occipital triangle, therefore it must have occipital artery. And next, spinal accessory nerve, you can remember this one, spinal accessory nerve. And next, the 4 cutaneous branches of cervical plexus, which are these: lesser occipital nerve, greater auricular nerve. Next we have supraclavicular nerve. These are enough. And finally, by the transverse cervical artery. Once again, the contents of occipital triangle are occipital artery, transverse cervical artery. Next we have lesser occipital nerve, greater auricular nerve. We have the spinal accessory nerve and the supraclavicular nerve. Moving on to the contents of the supraclavicular triangle. We have 3rd part of subclavian artery, subclavian vein, terminal part of external jugular vein. I'll make this easy now. We all know that the terminal part of external jugular vein, it terminates in the subclavian vein. And the subclavian vein, the vein accompanies an artery. So subclavian vein must accompany an artery, which is 3rd part of subclavian artery. Very simple. 3rd part of subclavian artery, we have the external jugular vein, this is the subclavian vein, and finally you can add in some lymph nodes. Next we have transverse cervical artery and suprascapular artery. Majorly these are important. I hope you liked the video, you understood the concept. If you have any other suggestions for the other videos, please do comment, like, share and subscribe. Thank you for watching.